done 3 videos and today this is 4th video on metabolism. Well, I believe that you people are breathing out fresh air out there. Since we are speaking about air, okay, do you see me? We have dealt 3 fates of pyruvate, wherein one was the complete cut off of oxygen, the other one was the continuous flow of oxygen, and the third one was where there is temporarily disconnection of oxygen. If you see me, obviously I am very much alive, so I am breathing. So I am not following the process or the glucose which has get converted in me into pyruvate. My pyruvate is not following the process where there is complete cut off of oxygen, because I am very much alive and neither I am a microorganism or yeast. Okay, so moving on to the next fate, that is temporarily disconnection of oxygen doing muscular exercises. Okay, you can see me, I am not breathless. I am speaking in a flow. So obviously I am not following the second fate of pyruvate where there is temporarily disconnection of oxygen. Instead, I am following the regular path of pyruvate which has complete flow of oxygen. You can see with the flow of my talk. Okay, so that particular fate we are going to deal here, wherein the pyruvate is getting converted to acetyl-CoA in presence of oxygen with the help of enzyme pyruvate dehydrogenase complex. We have dealt with this multi-enzyme complex having 5 coenzymes: NAD+, FAD, coenzyme A, lipoic acid, and thymine pyrophosphate. Okay, the multi-enzyme complex giving you NAD to NADH plus H+. Obviously, you are getting enormous amount of energy here. That is why I am able to speak to you people, because my pyruvate has provided me enormous amount of energy. Of course, it is not a single pyruvate; it is 2 pyruvate which is getting converted to 2 acetyl-CoA here. Okay, we know that acetyl-CoA is the heartbeat of metabolism. So, what's happening in my body is glucose has got converted to pyruvate, giving me enormous amount of energy in the form of acetyl-CoA, the heartbeat of metabolism. So let me know what is my heartbeat. Acetyl-CoA is going to proceed further. This acetyl-CoA, it enters TCA cycle to give me more energy. TCA cycle is otherwise called as citric acid cycle or Krebs cycle. This is the only cycle where you get only energy. There is no consumption of energy. You are going to get enormous energy in the form of oxidation. There are first oxidative decarboxylation, second oxidative decarboxylation, then oxidation and one more oxidation. So you have totally 4 oxidation processes here, out of which 3 oxidations are going to give you the ATP in the form of NADH plus H plus reduced coenzyme. Only one oxidation, that is succinate to fumarate, is going to give you ATP in the form of FADH2. And further, not only as reduced coenzymes NADH plus H plus and FADH2, instead I am going to get direct ATP from succinyl-CoA to succinate, wherein I get direct ATP in the form of ATP or GTP. So overall, this TCA cycle is going to provide me enormous energy so that I can be in this flow throughout. Okay? Glycolysis, where glucose had got converted to pyruvate, the pyruvate gets converted to acetyl-CoA, the heartbeat of metabolism. So in presence of oxygen, the pyruvate has got converted to acetyl-CoA. Let us see the fate of acetyl-CoA now. This acetyl-CoA condenses with oxaloacetate and forms citrate. So the TCA cycle involves 8 steps. As it is told that it is a cycle, so obviously oxaloacetate, the first initiation step of TCA cycle, is regenerated every time. So the first step of TCA cycle, you can write it as condensation, isomerization, the second one as isomerization, third, first oxidative decarboxylation, fourth, second oxidative decarboxylation, fifth, oxidation, hydration, and 8 oxidation. Come again. There are 8 cycles, 8 steps in the citric acid cycle. First one, condensation, isomerization, first oxidative decarboxylation, second oxidative decarboxylation, phosphorylation, oxidation, hydration, oxidation. Condensation, isomerization, first oxidative decarboxylation, second oxidative decarboxylation, phosphorylation, oxidation, hydration, oxidation. As it says, in condensation obviously water comes into picture, so obviously we will not have any energy. In isomerization, it is just an interconversion where molecular formula is same but structural formula varies. In the first oxidative decarboxylation, as the name indicates, it is an oxidative step. So obviously this is an energy yielding step. So this is my favorite step because I need enormous amount of energy. The fourth one, second oxidative decarboxylation, as it says, it is oxidation. So obviously this is also energy yielding step. Further, phosphorylation. We know that phosphorylation is a process where it gives direct ATP, but oxidation doesn't give direct ATP. So obviously these two will give you reduced coenzymes, that is NADH plus H plus. But this phosphorylation, which is also energy yielding step, gives me direct ATP. Further, we have oxidation, hydration, oxidation. This oxidation and the last oxidation will give me energy. But to be noted that this oxidation where succinate gets converted to fumarate is FADH2 reduced coenzyme. So I get 2 ATPs in this oxidation. 2 ATPs in this oxidation. Hydration doesn't need any ATP. This oxidation, the last one, is also energy yielding step. So obviously when you see there are 8 steps in that, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 8th, that is totally 5 steps of the TCA cycle are the thermodynamically favorable steps. So here you can see that the first oxidative decarboxylation is giving me NADH plus H plus, which is plus 3 ATPs. The second oxidative decarboxylation is again giving me NADH plus H plus, so obviously this is also 3 ATPs. The phosphorylation is giving me direct ATP in the form of ATP or GTP, hence it is 1 ATP. The next oxidation I have marked it. This is where succinate gets converted to fumarate, which gives not the NADH plus H plus, instead gives FADH2. So it is giving me plus 2 ATPs. The hydration doesn't provide me anything, wherein the last oxidation gives me NADH plus H plus, hence this will provide me 3 ATPs. As you can see, a rough view, the raw of energetics, 3 plus 3 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3. We know that 3 2s are 6, 3 3s are 9, 3 4s are 12. So the entire energy currency is 12 ATPs. Since this is not just one pyruvate entry in the form of acetyl-CoA, so we have to multiply this into 2 so that the entire energy currency will be 24 ATPs. In the Krebs cycle, let us move on to the actual Krebs cycle. How exactly it takes place? We have seen pyruvate getting converted to acetyl-CoA. This acetyl-CoA has to undergo the first step, that is condensation. So acetyl-CoA condenses with oxaloacetate to form citrate. This citrate, this is the first step where condensation is taking place. Of course, with water, addition of water giving you, since there is acetyl-CoA, is giving you CoAsh. So whenever acetyl-CoA comes, CoAsh comes out. So the hydrolysis, that is condensation process of acetyl-CoA, condenses with oxaloacetate to give you citrate. Now, this citrate is an isomer of isocitrate. So there will be an interconversion of the isomer form from citrate to isocitrate. You can pyruvate gets converted to acetyl-CoA in presence of PDC, pyruvate dehydrogenase complex, giving you NADH plus H plus. It is 2 pyruvates which are getting converted to acetyl-CoA, that is 2-acetyl-CoA. Now acetyl-CoA enters the Krebs cycle by condensing with oxaloacetate. So this step is the first step and it is otherwise called water is being added, and since acetyl-CoA is in the picture, OH is being removed from the acetyl-CoA. So acetyl-CoA condenses with oxaloacetate via condensation step to give you citrate. Citrate is an isomer of isocitrate. So the next step will be isomerization. The citrate and isocitrate are having same molecular formula, but they are structurally different. So there will not be any kind of interconversion whenever isomerization comes in the picture. So citrate gets converted to isocitrate. So that completes the second step. Condensation, isomerization. From isomerization, you proceed to the most important step, that is first oxidative decarboxylation step, wherein energy is being yielded. So isocitrate gets converted to alpha-ketoglutarate by the first oxidative decarboxylation. Since we know it is oxidative decarboxylation, the interconversions will be NAD plus getting converted to NADH plus H+. Meanwhile, carbon dioxide is also removed in this process. After the first oxidative decarboxylation, the isocitrate getting converted to alpha-ketoglutarate. The alpha-ketoglutarate undergoes second oxidative decarboxylation further to give you succinyl-CoA, the metabolic substrate succinyl-CoA. This is also an energy yielding step. Hence, NAD plus gets converted to NADH plus H+. Obviously, this is decarboxylation. So, decarboxylate, that is carbon dioxide should be removed. So, removal of carbon dioxide takes place. The metabolic substrate, succinyl-CoA, is also energy yielding, but this substrate gives the ATP directly. So, succinyl-CoA in presence of succinate synthase gets converted to succinate, wherein the GDP or ADP gets converted to GTP or ATP. Meanwhile, I have not dealt with the enzymes which come into picture. So, whenever acetyl-CoA gets converted to oxaloacetate, it is citrate synthase. Citrate synthase, which undergoes condensation reaction. Citrate synthase undergoes condensation reaction. When it is isomerization, that is citrate to isocitrate, the isomerization, it is cis-aconitase enzyme. Cis-aconitase enzyme, which facilitates the isomerization from citrate to isocitrate. From isocitrate to alpha-ketoglutarate, it is first oxidative decarboxylation. So, since it is oxidation, obviously the enzyme should be dehydrogenase. The enzyme will be substrate dehydrogenase. Isocitrate dehydrogenase. Okay. In the second oxidative decarboxylation, where alpha-ketoglutarate gets converted to succinyl-CoA, since this is also an oxidation step, it will be substrate dehydrogenase. So, this will be alpha-ketoglutarate dehydrogenase. The enzyme will be alpha-ketoglutarate dehydrogenase. In the phosphorylation, succinyl-CoA gets converted to succinate. So, the enzyme will be, whenever phosphorylation comes, we have always told that it is the kinase enzyme. In certain processes, there are synthase which also involved. Whenever synthase comes, it is the GDP getting converted to GTP. So, the enzyme will be succinate synthetase or succinate synthase. Further, the succinate to fumarate undergoes oxidation. This is also an energy yielding step. So, obviously, whenever succinate gets converted to fumarate, we have told that this oxidation is different from the other oxidation process in TCA. That is, FAD gets converted to FADH plus H plus. FADH2. FAD gets converted to FADH2. So, the enzyme will be succinate dehydrogenase. From succinate to fumarate, we have seen fumarate getting converted to malate. This is a hydration step. So, whenever hydration comes in the picture, it is aldolase, enolase, fumarase. Since this is a fumarate, the enzyme is fumarase, where addition of water is being taking place. Once fumarate changes to malate, the next step is oxidation. So, this is also an energy yielding step. We know that this is NAD getting converted to NADH plus H plus, and the enzyme malate dehydrogenase. Okay, so the malate dehydrogenase gives oxaloacetate. So in this process of 8 steps in the TCA cycle, the oxaloacetate is regenerated. This regenerated oxaloacetate can condense with another molecule of acetyl-CoA once again to proceed the same 8 steps of the TCA cycle. Okay, come again. So pyruvate gets converted to acetyl-CoA in presence of pyruvate dehydrogenase complex. It's 2-pyruvate getting converted to 2-acetyl-CoA. Acetyl-CoA condenses with oxaloacetate to give you citrate in presence of enzyme citrate synthase. Since there is condensation, there is no energy. The citrate gets converted to its isomeric form, isocitrate, via the second step, isomerization. Whenever isomerization is there, there is no interconversion. Instead, the enzyme will be cis-aconitase, which facilitates the isomerization. From isomerization, we are very happy because we are getting energy from here. That is, isocitrate gets converted to alpha-ketoglutarate via the oxidation process. First, oxidative decarboxylation. Hence, NAD gets converted to NADH+H+, and there will be decarboxylation, removal of carbon dioxide, giving you alpha-ketoglutarate. Since it is a oxidation step, the enzyme will be dehydrogenase. The enzyme is substrate dehydrogenase, isocitrate dehydrogenase. Further, alpha-ketoglutarate undergoes the second oxidative decarboxylation. Hence, NAD gets converted to NADH+H+, carbon dioxide is being removed. Since it is oxidation, the enzyme will be substrate dehydrogenase, alpha-ketoglutarate dehydrogenase. Since succinate-CoA is also an energy-rich substrate, when it converts to succinate, it gives ATP directly in the form of GTP. So GTP gets converted to GTP. So it is the enzyme will be succinate synthase here. Succinate undergoes oxidation to give fumarate in presence of succinate dehydrogenase, where this is the only oxidation step where FAD gets converted to FADH2. Fumarate further undergoes hydrolysis, wherein there is addition of water in the presence of enzyme fumarase to give you malate. The malate further undergoes the last oxidation to regenerate oxaloacetate. So this is an oxidation step, hence the enzyme will be dehydrogenase, malate, dehydrogenase, NAD getting converted to NADH+H+. The regenerated oxaloacetate is now ready, very much energetic, very much ready to accept another acetyl-CoA. Hi, this is Nasa Sareen. Well, I was dealing with metabolism all these days. I hope you people have enjoyed my videos on glycolysis, Krebs cycle, fates of pyruvate, and beta oxidation, and of course not to forget the electron transport system or electron transport chain. Hope you're going to do fantastic in your exams. All the very best. Hey.